1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now there should be sound from me, and I hope from Pavel. Just a moment, please. I will say something.
Say what exactly? Okay, I hope everyone can hear me.
Yeah.
My mumbling and bubbling should be very inspiring. Okay, so you went to London. You saw two exhibitions. What?
Okay.
Let's talk about them in order. I don't think you should reiterate what you said.
This is this is just awful. We'll just wait for a comment from somebody that sound finally goes through. Okay, now, yeah, we have a lot of a lot of people on Facebook watching our stream, even with all the technical difficulties we have today. Sorry, I'm very sorry about that. So I'll repeat at least some things I told without sound, and this delay is due to some issues with my headphones. When I switched on my Bluetooth headphones, my laptop decided to crash, so I had to restart. And when it appears that while I was able to connect my Bluetooth headphones to my laptop without crashing it again, for the second time, we lost sound somewhere in the middle. So I'm very sorry about that and about this delay, but well, that's life, and that's our live streams. That's how we do them. um, I hope everything will be fine from now on. And yeah, I see that we have some people from Australia here, and, at least on YouTube, and I'm not sure from where else are the other people who are commenting on Facebook. Thanks a lot for your comments, and well,
Keep them
luckily,
coming.
yeah, keep them coming. So the main reason for our the main theme of our live stream today is two exhibitions of fine bindings I visited this past weekend in London. That wasn't the main reason we went to London. My wife and I we went to see musical on West End, but well, I obviously used this opportunity to do a lot of bookish stuff as well. I visited two studios, a studio of Piotr Jarosz, bookbinder from Poland, who's currently living in the UK in London, and studio of Mark Cockram, Studio 5. And I got some photos. I don't think I will share any photos with you today, because I spent quite a lot of time preparing photos from the exhibitions, and you will find these photos later on our Instagram account. So they wouldn't be lost. And two exhibitions are happening. I visited them at Max Brothers, antiquarian booksellers in London, and they are still happening, and they continue until the 25th of October. So if you are in London area, or if you can visit London before that moment, before the 25th of October, I definitely recommend you doing that. Because obviously it's nice to see photos during a live stream or something like that. And we are streaming. Oh, I wanted to say that we are streaming 4K, that for better quality of photo. No, we are streaming in full HD. We make our podcasts in 4K, but it's too much for my computer to stream in 4K. So yeah, we'll show some photos, but if you have a chance to visit these exhibitions, just go there. They are at the same place in two rooms next to each other, and one is Drop Dead Gorgeous, and all the bindings of these exhibitions are dedicated or made around one single book, and we'll talk about it a bit later. I hope Pavel will join a bit, and then tell a couple of things about the authors and the original book. And the second exhibition is an exhibition made jointly by Designer Bookbinders and Max Brothers, the book Beautiful, I hope I'm not ruining I'm not mistaken with the name, but anyway, it's an exhibition of members of the bindings made by the members of Designer Bookbinders, and I guess we'll start with it after I show some more things. And we have some comments on Facebook. Anna Fiorani, greetings from Brazil. So we have your viewers from Brazil today. That's great.
Whoa!
And I think, well, at least I'm not sure if that's the first time, but I think it's the first time when somebody told us that they are watching from Brazil. So that's new one for us. And if anyone wants to add something or tell us from where they are watching, we would be glad to see the comments and to read them aloud. And as usual, I'd like to remind you that we'll be glad to see your comments related to the things we're discussing. If you have any questions about the books we'll be showing today, please write your comments down. We'll try to reply. If we won't be able to reply, we will try to provide some links, maybe not exactly during the stream, but maybe a bit later, because we're working without a producer, so there are two of us and I have to switch between all the things. Okay, there's another one, Gizecraft or Gizecraft, I'm not sure how to pronounce. Hi from Macau. That's amazing. So we're covering almost the whole world. I guess only Hawaii is still sleeping right now, or already sleeping. Maybe it's not too late on Hawaii. I'm not sure. I think we recorded with Angea Kuna pretty early in the morning, so probably it's not too late there. I guess let's proceed. I wanted to show you a couple of things. I've got some freebies I've got. So I visited Piotr Jarosz. He's a very remarkable young bookbinder who is, I guess he has some fame on Instagram because of his unusual boxes he makes, and he likes, well, he does lots of things, but one of the things he obviously likes to do is experiment with different types of boxes and different shapes of boxes. And please find him on Instagram, Piotr Jarosz. I guess it may be better for maybe Pavel will find him and post a link on Facebook and YouTube, and because it may be not so straightforward how the Polish name is written, but yeah, and he has an interesting, not very large studio in work sharing. No, how do you call the place where many people are working together? I am blanking on the name. I mean the something sharing. No, no.
No. I don't do that.
Okay. This is awful. Yeah, this situation at the beginning of the of the stream completely yeah, made me lose all the things I wanted to say. And well, anyway, he's working in a nice, neat space, and hopefully he'll have to expand soon, because well, it seems that he has some business to do, and probably, as he told me, he will need some help in the nearest future, and well, I hope it works out. And find him on Instagram. We also posted some of his photos earlier, and we'll post more later. Yeah, thanks, Pavel, and I guess I'll repost the link to YouTube as well.
I posted it there, but for some reason comments from me never appear in the stream.
Yeah,
I
because
tried this before.
it's a link, and if you post any other comment, I will make you moderator, and then you will be able to post something. So yeah, and Piotr gave me this postcard, and yeah, I guess I could have shown this one because it has his website on it. I make books. Yeah, and, there is some resemblance of his
Oh,
face.
then this is great. This is actually in style of the mid-century Polish poster art. This is very recognizably Polish in style.
Yeah, and you can see his name written there, handmade by Piotr, so it's Piotr. And yeah, he's a great guy, and yeah, this is what I got as well. Nice couple of nice pencils. So we'll post some photos from his studio a bit later, maybe later this week, maybe next week. Um, we have another comment on Facebook from Cloda Linam. I'm sure I'm butchering the name, but well, I'm trying. Hello from Dublin, so Europe as well. And then, as I mentioned before, so Pavel wants to be a moderator. Just a moment. Okay, I have to do that. Sorry about that. Just give me a moment. Pavel, you can talk for a moment. I know you can.
So you went to Mark Cockrum's studio too. You also went to see his mega famous, world famous mega gallery, the
Yeah,
basement.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I also made some photos of the gallery of the new exhibition that is there. So yeah, hopefully, Pavel, now you will have ability
Thanks.
to moderate or to add links. Yeah, I saw a new exhibit there, and it's a funny one. And once again, uh, join our Instagram account. There should be a link somewhere in the description. Yeah, and I'll post some photos of the tool. Mark showed me an absolutely amazing sewing frame. So once again, subscribe to our Instagram to see the sewing frame. It's like when it's standing on its side, it's higher than, well, probably higher than me. So it's huge. Well, maybe not huge in all dimensions, but it's super wide. So I never saw anything like that. Okay, there is Marcello Castillo from Argentina joining the stream on Facebook as well. So what time is it in Brazil and Argentina? It's super early, I think. But okay, so yeah, I went to Mark Ockrams, and Mark also gave me a gift of sorts. So yeah, it's some balm for colds or something like that. So I know nothing about these things, but when I showed it to my wife, she was like, "Yeah, sure, obviously, I know this brand," and yeah.
Also signed.
So I returned with some nice stuff and some gifts, and it was an amazing visit to London, and I definitely plan to go over there once again. And I hope later with this year we finally receive our new car, because well, due to my business, I finally need to have a car, and it is delayed because there is a crisis of microconductors or something like that in the world, and печатные платы, how do you call it, PCB boards, and well, that affects car production as well, not only PCs and things like that. So we definitely want to go to southwest England. There are several binder is there. Kate Holland is there. Hannah Brown is there. I saw both of them during this exhibition, during this event last Friday, and once again it was great to see them and to talk to them and to discuss some of their bindings. Both of them have bindings exhibited there, so yeah, it was a great pleasure. Should we switch to
Yep.
some photos? And
Can't wait.
I need to switch to no, not ready. Sorry, just a moment. Oh yeah, everything crashed. I forgot this part. Everything crashed and my setup crashed as well. Just a moment. So here we are, and some pictures. Yeah, everybody should see them. Besides, with exceptions of Pavel, and Pavel will see them in a moment. Okay.
Here we go.
Perfect. Yeah, here we go. Just okay. So I'll check some more comments.
Aaron
Caroline.
Smith writes to us from Cape Town. Now that's quite some coverage.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We've during this event, by the way, I met a person. There who is also from South Africa, and Pavel, if you will give me a moment, I will try to recover.
I think you sent me a link to his profile. Yeah.
Yeah. Pavel will find the person. So there were two people. One of them we want to invite to our podcast, and yeah, obviously, once again, I'm blanking on the name, but that's usual for me, I guess. Yeah, just a moment. Yeah, so Hayao Zhang is a Chinese writer and journalist. She sort of works as an intermediary, as far as I understand, connecting European bookbinding world and Chinese, and we want to talk to her about that and about the Chinese bookish world as well, and maybe she will help us to connect to some people and to invite them to connect to some people from China and invite them to our podcast, because this is definitely a part of the world that we didn't cover yet, and we definitely want to talk about Chinese book arts and bookish things. And if Pavel will find the name of her husband.
Francis Gerard, I think.
Francis Gerard. Yeah, as far as I understand, he's a son of famous thriller writer. And,
yeah.
And he's director of documentaries and the creator of exhibitions and museums. He's a producer of exhibitions and museums. So quite an interesting couple, and I hope to see at least Hayao on our podcast in the future. So that's the on the photo. In the photo, that's how the Designer Bookbinders fellows and members bindings are exhibited, and that's not the first time I see this sort of exhibition there at Max Brothers. I went there a couple of years ago, and I think bindings that got awards from one of the Designer Bookbinders and editions were exhibited at that moment 2 years ago at Max Brothers. And as far as I understand, that's something that happens on a regular basis. So
and I can immediately see a familiar book. One of these books we've already featured on our podcast. The one on the top left with photos and bright patches. Yeah.
Yeah, and we discussed some other books as well, and you will see a lot of familiar names over there when I'll start switching between the photos. And as far as I understand, that's a mixed exhibition. There are bindings from previous competitions of book designer bookbinders, or just bindings made by the members, fellows of designer bookbinders. Because I think I saw some bindings that were made for the competition, triennial competition that's held by the American Academy of Bookbinding, open set competition, and well, some other books as well. And yeah, I guess let's move forward. Uh, so I hope we will have a chance to talk to Angela James during on our podcast in the nearest future, or at some moment at least, because I talked to her, and she's related currently to the projects, joint project between the Man Booker Prize and Designer Bookbinders, where every year 6 fellows of Designer Bookbinders prepare bindings for 6 shortlisted books of Booker Prize. And we made a series about the books, some of the books that were made last year for the last year's prize, and we plan to start recording our podcasts with the authors of this year's 6 books a bit later, uh, maybe even in October, maybe November. The winner is announced in November, so anyway, we won't be able to share anything with you before that, because it should be we cannot show the books before they are presented to the authors of the shortlisted books. But anyway, so this is one of the Angela's bindings, and there will be another one there, as far as I remember. Um, there are some names that I don't recognize, unfortunately, or some names of people who I haven't met yet, or whom I um, uh, haven't talked to on the even virtually on the web. But I guess we'll fix that this next year. So a lot of pieces binding by Eri Funazaki. Um, and yeah, I plan to share some Instagram links or something, but how should we proceed with that? Should I switch, or should you look for them and just post the links?
I think we can post them later. Otherwise,
Okay,
it will be a
okay.
mess.
So if you want to, well, firstly, you can of course you can find these people on Instagram or elsewhere on your own, but we will post the links after we finish our stream, and you will be able to return to the videos and to find these links. Um, and this one is, I think it was binding by Lester Capon. Yeah, it's binding by Lester Capon. Another person we wanted to invite last year, but some, scheduling issues happened, and we never invited him. But I met Lester during this event, and we agreed to, to continue negotiations of the date of the recording. And Sue Doggett is one of the people we discussed with Hannah Brown. So Hannah is one of the bookbinders who is, I guess, famous for embroidering your bindings, and there are several bookbinders who like to do that absolutely in different style, and Sue Doggett is one of them, and she she has some interesting bindings, and you definitely should look up her Instagram account. There are many photos of the creative process and well, creation process of the bindings, and that's some interesting details. You can find some interesting details there, and several of bindings of hers were exhibited here at Max Brothers. I think 3 were shown on in this exhibition by Designer Bookbinders, and 2 more bindings were shown on in the second exhibition that we will come over to a bit bit later. You can see Mark Cockrum's books there. I think it was a part of his
But
miniature exhibitions.
in his enormous gallery, he had this and a cutout of Victorian lady, I think.
Yeah, and we discussed this on our earlier podcast, so you can find more info on that exhibition space at his Studio 5, and this book as well in our one of our previous podcasts. Just search for Mark Cockram on our YouTube account.
And watch everything with him. He's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Flora Gin, and this binding with quite interesting tool patterns. I guess I need to show it once again as it is large. When it is large, we talked to Kathy Abbott about minimalistic approach to bookbinding, and there was a binding that Pavel and I wanted to make for a book of about Russian architect Chernyakhovsky. I think it was Chernyakhovsky.
Yep.
Yeah, he has this also pretty typical minimalistic approach, at least with his sketches, and we had some idea, but never finalized this project. But yeah, maybe in the future.
Sorry, are all these miniature parts individually inset? This is crazy.
It's not inlaid.
It's tooling. I
It's
see. Yeah,
tooling. Yeah.
yeah.
Is it a large tool, or large pieces, or they're all tooled separately? I don't know much, unfortunately. You
It
can
looks
see
very intricate. I
you
really
can
like this.
you can see the same pattern on the spine, so maybe it's just one tool used for all the elements. Maybe not. Well, uh, maybe we will try to reach out and to find more about it. And here is one of, I think, 3 bindings by Richard Bitsmore shown at this exhibition. And I should add that Richard was one of the people in charge of organizing this event, and as we discussed with him during our podcast, he also organized the bookbinding part of the London Crafts Week this past week, and this is just an amazing endeavor, and many thanks to him for making it real. And I think there are more photos of this binding on Richard's Instagram account, so you can go there, and there are definitely more photos of other bindings made by Richard that you'll see a bit later. And this is James Brockman, quite colorful binding, and
This is fun.
as far
How was this made? Are these all leathers?
I understand that they're onlays, and then they were tooled. The lines, as far as I understand, the lines were tooled, but the other elements are onlays on the original cover. And finally we can see some endbands. Something I always look forward to. Yeah, you can see it's in a bit better here, so you can see the tooled lines, gold tooled lines, and then there is this uh, kaleidoscope of colors over there. Rachel Bardsale also was a guest on our podcast when we discussed last year's booker bindings, and she made binding for one of the books, and it was an amazing talk. Rachel walked us through her full creative process from the moment she got the book and she read it, and to the moment she uh, uh, gave away the book, and she talked how she about her decisions on the design, on the structure, everything. That was a quite insightful talk, and if you are interested in getting more info on bookbinders creative and technical process, I definitely recommend you to watch this video. And here's another binding by made by Rachel, and the book is open, but even now you can see the patterns on the top edge of the book, and it's interesting how it follows, sort of follows the, I think it follows the design on the end leaves, and sort of follows the design on the cover. And something else by Mark Cockram. This book definitely you can find on his Instagram account, and you can find some more videos. I think even videos of the making of this book on his Facebook account, or on Studio 5 page on Facebook. Mark is an amazing person in the way that he shares a lot about his creative processes. He posts videos all the time during his working sessions or something. So I really like how open he is about his decisions, and the ways he experiments and makes books. So if you haven't visited his social media accounts, definitely do that. And I think this is the my favorite object in the whole of this Designer Bookbinders exhibition. Not to say that other bindings are, not good enough. They definitely are amazing, but well, firstly it's orange, and that's something that always catches my eye right away. But then I just love how it is made, and I had a chance to talk to Kaori Maki during this event, and she's a bookbinder, and also she's a member of Wyvern Bindery in London, and that's another name that's quite famous for their work, and so. Okay, I'm blanking on the process. If Pavel will pick up for a moment, I will check our discussion with Kaori to tell you a bit more about the exact process. And
Okay, so I've been looking through her Instagram, and her designs are very unusual. I don't think we've seen anything like that so far. She's very graphical in her approach to how she designs binding, and it looks simple, but it's anything but. I really like it.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely. So she's that's what she wrote to me. Technique I used for this book is a leather relief, so you can see that the leather surface is
Like
how
raised?
raised, yeah, and then gilded and gold leaf. So it's sort of two-step approach, two-step process, and
But how is it raised? Is it glued at the top of the book? Because I found a number of bindings that are made that way. A number of layers of
so
leather are glued.
I think we can see that on the spine it's leather on lace, but on the covers it's definitely not on lace. So it's um, yeah, I don't know. I never tried this process. I never read about it. Probably we can Google it, and I hope we will have a chance to talk to Kawamaki on our podcast and discuss this process as well. But it looks absolutely amazing and it's stunning. And when you see it close, it's even better. But as I said before, that's definitely a reason to visit this exhibition if you have a chance to be in London before the 25th of October. Um, uh, Binding by and Thornton with some once again a minimalistic approach and some gold tooling and this reminds me of our discussion with Peter Garrity on how he sometimes uses minimalistic patterns and designs in his bindings, and well, it works. And this
This
is
is
this
dramatic.
this is another another one of my favorites, and that's another binding by Richard Dietzmer. And here's a close up of this stone wall. Uh,
Oh, he has a flair for dramatic and for colorful. I really like this. It punches you in the face.
exactly, absolutely. And yeah, and I don't know if it's foil tooled or gold tooled or but yeah, there is a recess in the binding, and then the tooling is made. And well,
It looks like
this
graphite to me.
uh, do you think it's graphite? I think from the front it's oh maybe it's not yellow. Richard told us that he also likes to use some other um, metal foils as well besides gold. Yeah, sorry, I'm blanking once again, but you can definitely watch our talk with, with him on our podcast. And another of his bindings, and this is one of the bindings we discussed we talked about quite a lot because this binding got an award from Designer Bookbinders, and we invited Richard to discuss it alongside with the second binding that got an award during the same competition. And Richard tells the story of the binding on the and
He also
he,
walked us through his process. He showed us mock-ups,
yeah,
how he composed it, how he tried out techniques. Yeah, that was fascinating.
yeah. And as far as I remember, these ones are cigarette cards or something like that. Yeah, on the covers with the ladies,
Looks very
or
sexist,
or
very much of its time.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And another binding by Suichi Doggett, and
She's amazing.
I think
I mean,
I think
so many layers. I can't imagine how much time it took.
well, yeah, yeah, I can't either. Yeah, I think this binding got an award last year or a couple of years ago, something like that. But I'm sorry if I'm mistaken. But yeah, you can see that it's covered with embroidery all over the covers and the spines and we discussed. Luckily, we have somebody who talked to us about their process with embroidery, and it's Hannah Brown, and she talked about using sewing machines and sewing by hand and all that stuff, and how long does it take? So if you are interested, you can watch this video. And sorry that I'm self-referencing our podcast all the time, but just that's some interesting talks. And it happens that when you visit London and the exhibition by Designer Bookbinders, lots of people from Designer Bookbinders we talk to are there.
Yeah, I remember watching the awards. Oh, I know him, I know her, I know him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Tom McEwen, you can find him on Instagram as well, and there are some videos there showing some of the creative processes and well, more insights in the process. And this binding is quite striking, and the mix of colors is absolutely amazing. And unfortunately, this binding by Hein Song, and I'm not sure that I'm pronouncing the name correctly. And when we're recording our podcasts, we have a chance to ask the guest before starting the recording how their name is pronounced, and it helps us quite a lot. Now I have to, sort of brute force through it, and I'm sure that sometimes I'm wrong. But
I'd call it an uneducated guess.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I had a chance to meet Hein Song at London Centre of Book Arts a couple of years ago, and she has some amazing bindings, and her styles is also quite interesting, and you can see more photos of this binding on her Instagram account. And unfortunately, these photos do not do fair representation of the binding. You can probably see a bit more details here, but all these um, all these patterns are tooled, I guess, on the cover. And well, altogether it makes an absolutely amazing feeling, when you see this book in
They
real
look
life.
they look free form, like it's not a single or even a couple of tools, like it was done individually. It looks all um, very chaotic. I like it. And yet again, I've never seen anything like it before.
So, by the way, an invitation to our viewers: if you have any preference, whom we should invite to our podcast in the nearest future, among from the people we discussed here, mentioned here earlier, or whom we will mention later during this live stream, please leave some comments, and we will try to reach out to these bookbinders and to bring them to our podcast in the future. Jeff Clements is somebody we really wanted to talk on our podcast, and unfortunately didn't have a chance. Until recently, uh, he was the oldest member of Designer Bookbinders, and uh, he decided some time ago he decided to step away from all the activities. And well, he at the moment we talked to him, he was 87. I guess he's 88 now or something. So we can definitely understand this, this decision and his wish to be uh, a bit away from all these activities. And that's one of his bindings there, shown at this exhibition. Another binding by Angela James. So a line. Some more endbands for you,
Hmm. For you.
for me, and for everybody else.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and binding well by Gillian Stewart. And once again, I invite you to find her on Instagram. And if you scroll down through her Instagram account, you will find some photos and I think videos showing this binding and some more detail from insides of the book and leaves and edges and all that stuff. So uh, yeah, and a bit of gold tooling here in this sort of compass pattern. I love when gold tooling is sort of, um, how should I say?
Not central to the images, like used
Firstly,
for the details.
firstly not central, but then it sort of looks like it was dropped there by accident, you know.
Yeah, this reminds me of the hand painted screens from Japan, especially from the late 18th century. Yeah, it's often that you only notice the gold at the very last minute. Like it's not about gold; it just happens to be there.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And we're getting close to the end of this exhibition, and I guess I should say that it's probably a separate exhibition because it's an exhibition of boards made by I think fellows of Designer Bookbinders or members of Designer Bookbinders, and we talked about this part or this exhibition I think with Hannah Brown as well, or was it somebody else? We discussed this board. Definitely, we discussed her board, this architectural design. But so there is this. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I no. It wasn't the end. I'll skip forward to show you what I've been talking about. Yeah, here it is. I'm sorry. So there is this huge box with with I don't know 20 or something boards made by different bookbinders related, as far as I understand, to some of their bindings. And yeah, and Hannah's board was one of them, and we talked about this project during our talk with Hannah, and that's an interesting exhibit on its own, and you can browse through it. You can go there and buy it if you have have the budget. But that's something pretty interesting to just to view, and you can find more information on the Designer Bookbinders website. And another very colorful and interesting binding, and an alphabet by Midori Kunikata Kokram, and that's the person who Mark Kokram is husband of. So they're both bookbinders and book artists, and I finally had a chance to saw Midori's work here, and another of her works is exhibited in the second exhibition that we will be talking a bit later. Um, so another binding by Tom McEwan. This is Daedra and the Sons of Us now. And this one, once again, this is another binding by Hain Song, and here that's the second occasion during this exhibition, during my visit to this exhibition, when you have to you really have to see this book in real life and well, I don't know, hold it or to look close at it, because there is this design element in the very center of the front cover that's almost not visible in the photo, and you can probably see it better here. There is this dots
Like indentation? What
indentation.
is
Yeah.
it?
Well, it's I think it's tooled, but anyway, the photo doesn't doesn't do proper job representing this book, and when you see this dot, it's quite striking. And it's pretty minimal. And once again, obviously, black front cover doesn't help to see this dot, and maybe that's the idea, to make you work a bit more to see it and to to distinguish it from the surrounding area, and to see its relation to the design. And yeah, by the way, you can see a price list over there, and some of the books exhibited there are still for sale. Some of them are already sold, I think, or at least reserved. The ones that have colorful circles on the labels, they are already gone. But some other books are still available, and well, you can check the prices here, or you can reach out to Max Brothers and ask them. Um, Another person we talked to on our podcast, Kate Holland. Kate is in charge of Designer Bookbinders competition, organizing it, and well, that's not an easy job, and it takes a lot of time. And Kate is anyway quite busy with her work as a bookbinder and with commissions um, she has to do. And somehow, Pavel, the last link you posted on Facebook shows 404 error. I don't
Yeah,
know why, but I guess it should
that's
work.
strange. Yeah.
Um, Billy Rubin on YouTube writes, "Thank you so much for your website, guys. It's been an incredible help to me as a beginner." Well, we're glad, Billy, that it helps, and we hope to make it better in the future. um, Anything else? Stunning, gorgeous colors. Yeah.
All true, all true.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I didn't stop for this comments earlier because, well, I agree absolutely. Bindings are stunning, colors are often gorgeous, and once again, you should go to Kate Collins' Instagram account and check more photos of this binding. You have to scroll quite a lot until you see this cover, but there is much more detail there. You can see much more the end papers and the pattern of the top edge, and well, end bands as well, obviously back cover, all that stuff. And I think this will be the last bindings we show. So in the rights, by a binding by Glenn Barkley. As far as I remember its description, it's vellum binding. Oh, I guess people can't see it because of our heads. Yeah. And in the left, a binding by Stuart Brockman, a single man. You can find him on Instagram as well, but I don't think that there are any photos of this binding on his Instagram account. So only in the middle, and Gold Tools line in. I think it's two materials. Yeah, it's gold and something else. And yeah, we're ready for our next exhibition. If everyone is ready, we are ready. I guess I'll start with showing um, the catalog, and I will stop sharing my screen with Pavel for a moment. And yeah, so That's my mistake. I forgot to pick up the catalog for the Designer Bookbinders competition, and that's an unfortunate turn of events, you know. But maybe I should ask somebody to send it to me or something, and to add more details to the to our post on Instagram when we post about each of these bindings or some of the bindings later. So it's upside down. Here it is.
So it's an Eiffel Tower, I
Yeah,
assume.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an exhibition dedicated to bindings created around a single book. It's La Prose du Transsibérien, and it's sort of a story of Transsiberian journey. And I guess we should say that it's an artist book and created jointly uh, by um, yeah, okay, I'm blanking once again.
By Sonia Delon and Bless Sandoz.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you, thank you, Pavel, for this save. Yeah.
it's also interestingly the project itself was initiated by yet another famous name, Guillaume Apollinaire. The, so it's a who's who of the French art scene of 1910s, 1920s.
So Sonia Delaunay was in charge of the artistic part of this project, and that's something that inspired Kitty Maryatt, and I hope I'm well not once again not butchering the surname, to recreate these projects 100 years later, and to recreate the letterpress printed pages, colorful pages. You will see some of them when I will start showing the photos of this exhibition, and Kitty's binding. Two bindings made by Kitty are also a part of this exhibition and a part of this project, and that's something that this project was started with, and then she invited more bookbinders to join the project and to provide their creative view on the book, on this artist book from 100 years ago. And there are bookbinders from North America and from the United Kingdom there among the participants, and you will see some familiar names once again, and some of the names that we mentioned earlier during this stream already, and some other names probably that we mentioned on our podcast before. But yeah, and the catalog is amazing, and I had a chance to meet Kitty there, and asked her to sign the catalog. I also got some other people to sign it, like Sue Doggett. Um, we talked about her bindings just a bit before, and there will be one more binding of hers there, and then, well, Hannah Brown. There is another one embroidered binding. Yeah, you can probably see it in the catalog, but well, I'll show some more photos, and
But did they reproduce the book the way it was made originally? Wasn't it like fold out?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You will see that in a moment, and obviously, yeah, yeah. In Midori Kunikata Kokram, signed in Japanese, and
You lucky
it
bastard.
it was a it was a great occasion to meet her and to talk to her a bit, and it's interesting when I asked her to sign the catalog. She asked if it's okay that she usually signs it in Japanese, and well, obviously Absolutely. That's even better. Uh, well, it's her personal touch, so that's amazing. So let me prepare, and if Pavel can talk about Sonia and about artistic scene around this project that happened 100 years ago for a moment, I will prepare the technical stuff on my side.
So I assume many of you know, but anyway, I'll say it. Sonia Delona wasn't born Sonia Delona. She was born in Ukraine, in Odessa, then part of Russian Empire. Uh, she did get some education in Odessa and Saint Petersburg, but as a part of an affluent international Jewish family, she traveled a lot, and when she was something like 17, they moved to Germany, and a year later, she wound up in Paris. And in Paris, she met everyone, knew everyone. She married Robert Delaunay. She was friends with absolutely all the poets and painters of the time. And the unfortunate thing is, as well known and central to the modernist movements as she was very quickly forgotten. She was rarely more than a footnote. When I was a kid and only started looking at the art of the time, she was only mentioned as basically said. But when you look at her work, at her art, she is clearly the greater artist of the two, and it is gradually recognized. And nowadays, she is often the main dish in the exhibitions, and his works are only given as comparison and for what she's done. Uh, so this is the book. Yeah, it's an interesting format.
Probably I should switch right away to the insights, because yeah, Pavel
Yeah.
asked about it, and here it is how it is represented, and most of the bookbinders who took part in this project decided to to stick to the formats. Some of them decided to change it just a bit in some ways, and well, yeah, that's it. um,
So it's printed sideways, right? Could you get
yeah,
yeah?
yeah.
And are these lithographs? What's the process?
I think it was a letterpress
Oh,
project.
letterpress.
Let me
Yeah.
check.
Because I
It's
know the Deloners did work with lithographs a lot. They liked the spontaneity
so
of the
here
stuff.
here's what Kitty Marriott writes in the introduction. With support from 12 underwriters, I initiated my project in 2017 to recreate La Prose using original techniques of letterpress and pochoir. So here you are.
I see.
And we wouldn't be going in the order that the books are listed in the catalog. We wouldn't be going in any really particular order. It's just the way I walked through the exhibition and photographed all the books. And the first binding is by Derek Hood, and we uh, discussed one of his bindings, or mostly his bindings, during our talk with Kate Holland, binding for the um, last year's Booker Prize shortlisted books, and he started doing the binding, but then had to step away from the project, and Kate Holland was the second on this book, and she finished the project in working closely with Derek, and following some of his recommendations, and I guess adding her personal touch as well. And so here is the binding with, and I guess you can see some resemblance in this binding and the binding we discussed then with you know, with circular shapes and the patterns and some other things as well.
I certainly immediately recognized it. Yeah. So he has his style, his vision, very interesting. And these shapes, they look like open books. I think that's one of the references for it, like it's pages of a book.
Probably, probably. And I guess I'll read some info on the because well, now I have catalog and I have more info to share with you. And gold skin leather, calfskin, sheepskin, AC3 paper, gold leaf, palladium. Yeah, palladium. Thank you, Derek, for helping us. Palladium is something that we discussed with Richard Bisman as well. As I think he mentioned that that's one of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
materials he likes to use for tooling besides gold. Book cloth, the Japanese colored paper, millboards, and well, it's already part of a collection from the collection of Simon Eccles. Um, and here it is from the different sites. I'm sorry for the quality of some of the photos. The lighting was not always perfect, and when it was better, sometimes it started the glass started to flicker, so it wasn't always easy to make all of these photos. And yeah, and as I said earlier, we have a second binding by Midori Kunikata Kokoro, and this is absolutely different. And this is one of the one of the bindings, one of the projects where the binder decided to completely reimagine, reinvent the shape of this book, and
It's like an origami.
yeah, yeah,
And I like how triangles are echoed on the cover. And what is the cover made of? Is this a micro mosaic? What are these again? Individual pieces of leather.
So front, let me read from the description. Gold skin, Japanese paper, gold leaf. Front and back boards are covered in dark brown gold skin with 2 mm and 1 mm strips of colored leather onlays and gold gilded cycle leather inlays.
I can't
So
imagine going
it's
through
all
this process.
onlays and they're of different size and
Just think about it. 2 millimeter strips,
yeah. And
and each.
here is the other
Oh
side.
wow, wow, wow! Can we talk to her, please?
I I I would like to talk to her so much. And yeah, here are the onlays as well. Onlays or inlays. Inlays, yeah, gold gilded cycle leather inlays. And this is unfortunately one of the bindings that I wasn't able to make proper photos of because of the flickering lights. I'll try to show you something from the catalog probably if you give me a moment. Should I? No, it's well, it's a bit better in catalog, but I don't think it's worth it to you know to switch to catalog and spend all the time
This is
on the
again,
switching.
this is again very looks engineered, like something
Well,
from a past idea of the future.
yeah, and it's onlays on the book cover, so it's very dimensional and it reminds of some I don't know switches or locks or something that you can find on a railroad or in any sort of machinery. And let me read the description. The binding is in full leather with edge to edge garden grain black calf skin. The fly leaves are in pig sweat. How do you pronounce it?
Suit,
Sweat,
sweet,
sweat,
sweet, yeah.
sweet. Yeah, it's hard to be. not a native speaker. All these words.
Mhm.
The color of anthracite. Um, the design is a geometric abstraction composed of mosaic with the hard edge made of the same leather at the cover. These shapes are inspired by paintings by Sonia Delaunay.
Yeah, this does look like her works of the time. They are often bright circles, semicircles interlocked with each other, but none of her works are black and white. Well, I mean black and black. So that's more like the works of Rodchenko of the time.
Well, that's true, but interestingly, the shades and the edges, the cut edges of the leather pieces bring much more color to the scene, you know. And if you look at it from the front, maybe not as much, but if you look at it a bit from the side, somehow there are much more color than just the sort of black of the flat cover. And there are several objects that are made as this sort of horizontal concertina in this parts of this project and in this exhibition. And here is one of them by James Wright Cunningham. Should have I mentioned from where are the binders or not? I can I can start doing that from this moment, but Jonathan Tremblay is from Canada. Well, Midori Kunikata Kokram is from England. Derek Hoot also is from England, and yeah, we discussed him, and that's it for now. And okay, um, James Wright Cunningham is from the United States, and here is um, another approach, and quite interesting mix of colors, and you can see the insides a bit better over here. So leather, gold, metallic foil, and shell veneer. Full leather binding in natural goatskin with 77 back paired onlays in 23 different colors. The blurs are also covered in natural goatskin. Um,
So those rhombus-shaped things are pieces of shell. Did I
yeah,
get it right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You'll see a close up a bit later. The binding capture the crisp imagery and chanting movement of the text as the train stops and starts across Russia. Well, I'm not sure that's my experience with traveling by train through Russia, but maybe that's an interesting interpretation.
Interestingly, we've had a few guests who went on the Transsiberian
Yeah,
Railway
yeah.
in mostly in the 80s. I think at least three people we've interviewed had memories of this.
Yeah, and I never did that, and you never
Neither,
did that as well.
neither did I. I've never had that much free time.
I had experience with part of this route. I some
Up to the Urals?
14, 15 years ago, I went to no further, not further. No, yeah, up to the Urals. You're right. I went further, but by plane, not by train. It was 14 or 15 years ago. I've been kayaking in region of Republic of Bashkiria, and I've been twice there. And on the second time, by the way, I that's when my relationship with my wife started. So that's an important, memory for me. But so to go from Moscow to Ufa, to the capital of Bashkiria, Republic of Bashkortostan, you by train you have to spend 2 days and something, 2 days and a half traveling, and then you arrive to Ufa, and there is obviously this large central train station, and there is this huge map of Soviet Union there with all the distances and stuff, and there you see that you traveled approximately halfway to Baikal Lake, and I guess all of our viewers should know Baikal Lake, or if they don't, they should check the Baikal, what's the Baikal Lake is. And distance from Moscow to Baikal Lake is sort of half the distance from Moscow to Vladivostok, to the furthest part of Russia. You can go by train from Moscow. Well, almost. So yeah, we've been traveling for 2 days and a half, and traveled only through quarter of our country, and that's only the parts of our country where you can travel by train, and there are, you know, other other parts of Russia as well where you can't go in any way, only by plane or helicopter or something. So yeah.
Interestingly, it takes about as long to travel by train from Moscow to Vladivostok now as it did at the time of publishing of this book.
Yeah,
I mean, it still takes over a week.
yeah, 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 that's true. So you can see these onlays just a bit better here on the close-ups, and it's. I never thought of using this material as a representation of Russian reality seen from a train. But yeah. Oh, I don't think that we included this part in our of our talk with Karin Cox when she described her experience traveling through Russia, because maybe due to difference in in perception between the native Russians and outsiders, foreigners, maybe there is something. And then 100 years ago, you definitely traveled by steam engine, so there is this pattern. Probably this pattern is there as well. Um, Next, Dominic Riley from England, and well, this is one of the bindings that attracted my attention once again. Colorful binding with sort of minimalistic tooling, but then this splashes of color. I wouldn't call them minimalistic at all. Um, so let me read from the description. A box construction, laminated cushioned boards and wooden spine covered with in dark green goatskin, front cover red, back cover blue, multicolored goatskin and lace. Cover tooled with gold dots. Title on spine in the French style. So yeah, that's it. Interesting mix of colors, and onlays are absolutely amazing with these paired edges, and
They look welded in. I mean, they look absolutely. You can't see they were on later.
yeah, absolutely. So they're paired really well and pressed really well. So yeah. Claudalinum writes, "Thank you, that was great. I have to go now." And yeah, Anke Weisbach left us some time ago. I guess that's how it works today, because we have a lot to show yet, and it will be a longer stream today. But what can we do? That's an interesting topic, and we didn't want to postpone it until 2 weeks later. So let's move forward. I'll try to be a bit faster, maybe. Kathy Abbott, and unfortunately this book is exhibited in its closed form, but you can definitely go to Kathy's Instagram account and see some photos of it's in its open state, and well, as often is Kathy's binding has pretty minimalistic design, and that's also something we discussed with Kathy during our talk to her. Alum-toed goatskin, multicolored goatskin and lace, Saunders water for paper, magnets. So it's closed with magnets, or held with magnets. And it's just perfection in its, in every detail. And here are two more bindings by, I think it's, oh no, or it's easy to it's a box, and yeah, so it's a box and a binding by Stu Doggett. Leather, paper, book cloth, silk thread, polyester thread, texture paste, acrylic, watercolor paint, drawing ink, and gold leaf.
And you can read it from the photo, not from the book.
Yeah, okay. The binding of I'll still read it. The binding of La Prose du Transsibérien recreation is constructed from a series of boxes and trays of various sizes and structures, opening out Russian doll-like. So yeah, you can see the larger one, the smaller one. Everything is embroidered. And this reminds me of it. How is it called? Geodesic lines.
Yeah, yeah. And that could be the reference to the map of Siberia, something like that. Yeah, and this line being the railroad, or maybe nothing as straightforward as that.
Maybe. Okay, next one. Eleanor Ramsey, United States. Um,
Another bright one.
Another bright one. Another reference to compass, and some references to railroads, rail tracks as well over there. So here's from the description: the original poetry and artwork of La Prose du Transsibérien are disjointed, fragmented, and enthralling. The conflicts and mysteries of life appear in the jagged and jarring words and colors carrying across the accordion folds. So I guess it's represented in a way in this in this take on the book and on the project, and in this box. And here it is from the back. On the left, it's the folded book and the box from the back side, and the book on the right is a binding by Hein Song. And I haven't noticed before, by the way, that the box is disjointed over here. It's sort of open differently at the top part and the bottom part. And I just noticed it from the back side, because you can see lights through it.
Very architectural.
Yeah. And I think no, not the binding by Hein Song isn't the next, but somehow this is a better photo than the one than I used later. Maybe I used it second time. We'll see. So Julian Thomas from Wales, and I think Julian is also somebody we wanted to talk to about some of the bindings from Designer Bookbindings. Here is his approach to the theme.
Oh, this is fun.
Very interesting blue color. I don't think you see that one in design bindings somehow. Natural calfskin, gold gilded, textured, sandpaper dyed and painted with acrylics, black calfskin blocked, painted and sandpapered. Canson ingres and papers and doublures. Original sheets were joined, folded, and bound in a case of millboards and wooden wooden spine. The case is covered in black calf skin embossed with a specially made block. The leather is colored in fluorescent blue, acrylic paint, and sandpaper to reveal black calf. Vertical strips of gilded, embossed, and sandpaper calfskin are inlaid into the board leather. The remaining inlays are of textured calfskin colored with acrylics. Um, quite an impressive, stunning work.
I wonder if he means fluorescent literally. I don't think I've seen many fluorescent bindings.
That's
You know, something you take to a rave, that sort of thing.
yeah. Did we discuss some fluorescent bindings with Richard Minsky?
Yep.
I think there was something like that there. So yeah, but that's in the future. That's not published yet. Colin Curry. Unfortunately, this is one of the bindings that the photos are the absolute worst, and this is probably the moment where I should switch to and show it in the catalog because it's so much better there. Just give me a moment, please. I'll find it. And I'll have to just a moment. So eh, here it is, and I hope it's just a bit better. Is it in focus? Pavel, can you tell me? I think yes.
Yeah, but it's still rather dark. Oh, but yeah, I can sort of see how it works, but not really.
Well, it's just a bit better than the photos than the photo I have, but yeah, sorry about that. But what can we do? Let's return to the photos. Just a moment. And yeah, now it's Hein Song. Fair goatskin, multicolored goatskin onlays, winter blue cloth, and once again, these I need to switch off the. I need to switch our heads because they're closing the binding. Once again, these paired pieces of leather onlaid on the white leather cover, and I just love how some of them resemble Eiffel Tower or something, and some other objects as well, and that's some work to to pair leather thin that it's keeps some shape you really wanted to keep, and especially a profile of the Eiffel Tower, which is not super easy to not a shape that's easy to keep when you're pairing leather. Is there a face on the front cover, or it's just me?
I see faces everywhere, so there might be.
Let's check the description if anything mentioned about. Nope, nope.
It's certainly reminiscent of the works by Juan Miro, or say early Kandinsky. Uh, it's an interesting composition. Yeah, it reminds you of so many things, both individual pieces and overall shape. Yeah,
So
I see a face on the left cover too, by the way. So
but it's some sort of angry face, I think. So from Heinz's description, Sonia Delaunay was fascinated by color, and she saw it as a truly universal expressive language. The design of the binding comes from the playful arrangement of the vibrant colors and abstract shapes of Delaunay's original images. So we should probably refer to Sonia Delaunay's objects of art to understand what's there. Are there faces there? Okay, Samuel Feinstein from the United States. A bit more traditional approach, I guess, to binding, and probably a bit more traditional for the original era of the printing of the works. So it would fit quite well in 1920s.
Yeah, it's more of a art deco sort of design. But I like how regular it is on the left and how regular chaos it is on the right. It's fun. It's certainly fun.
Yeah, yeah. But so it's a front cover with chaos. You start with chaos and you finish with order. I'm not sure that's about Russia. Um, leather, sweat, paper, gold leaf, silk thread, full yellow goatskin leather binding with gold tooling and on lace with folded paper pockets for insertion and removal of accordion booklet and yapped edges. Here it is, and next one is the binding on the right. You can hardly see it there in the shadows. I'm sorry once again for the lighting, but it's a binding by Patricia Owen from the United States, and I'll show you some close-ups. Maybe it's a bit better seen a bit better over here, but there are some amazing onlays on the covers, on both covers. And the covers themselves are
So again, some kind of landscape.
yeah, yeah.
And the color, 50 Shades of Grey, that's very Siberian.
Well, it
That,
works. It works if you go there in winter. It will be probably like that. Maybe a bit more trees
which
and
is
not.
like 9 months of the year,
No, no,
so
no, no, no. Well, it's something that many Russians always like to repeat again and again. Oh, we have months of winter. We cannot have cycling paths in the cities. We don't need them for 9 months in a year. And then you come over to Moscow and you see people cycling in November and in March, and some do that even during winter. So it's not about 9 months of winter. And really, there are almost nowhere in Russia besides the polar part really 9 months of winter. So
so
yeah,
anyway,
urban
rant over.
legends.
Yeah. This is very subtle. The more you look at it, the more you see. Uh, the the rightmost wide band of leather is covered with these hexagons, which are also associated with a few places along the Transsiberian Railway. There's a common, it's a common geologic feature, oh, I really like this. Who is this by again?
It's Patricia Owen from the United States.
Wow.
If you find any links, please share them. And another pretty direct approach, and I think I saw in the catalog something about this binding. I wanted to share with you. Yeah, a bit later. Yeah, okay. When we see the other side. So here's the route, pretty straightforward, and Goatskin leather, wood veneer, and I understand that's on the insides, on the doublures. Koza and abaca paper, beeswax embroidery threads, LED board. And that's something. Oh no, where is the
Did you
photo?
say LED?
Yeah, there should have been another photo. No, I've lost it. Okay, I'll have to switch to catalog once again. Just a moment. I will say something.
So is it like an interactive piece of art? Does it show you something? Can you press buttons and why would you have an LED screen on a bookbinding?
So yeah, I had some more photos from the other side of the book, and somehow I didn't include them in this showcase. But here it is. Did it? It doesn't want to focus. Yeah. Or no? Why? Why would
So
it?
is it just
Yeah. Here it is. So
so
it's
it's the towns along the road.
yeah,
They are LEDs.
and they light up,
Oh, this is fun.
and yeah. Here are some more details of the book.
So it's not just ebooks that need a plug now.
Yeah.
Now it's also just bindings.
Yeah, just bindings. So this reminds me of a project that I made years ago, 10 years ago or something like that, for a wedding of my friend, and it was a photo album or something, yeah, photo album, and I decided that it will be smart to insert flash drive inside of the book cover. So it had a USB port at the edge of the book cover, and the book cover had to be made, really thick, because USB drives were quite thick and large 10 years ago, and they are much smaller today. And I'm not sure if it survived. I definitely hope so. I mean, I'm quite sure about the book, but I'm not sure about the electronics. Probably it should work. So let's move forward. Monique Lallier from the United States. Here is her binding. Um, Leather covered book, book cloth covered box, Komihima braids, and leather in the design. And you can see the braids in some places, in some circles placed over the book cover. And yeah, another spectacular binding by Don Glaister, and we mentioned Don quite a few times on our podcast. I attended his class at the American Academy of Bookbinding, and he talked about his experiments with materials, including some metal bindings he has made over the years. And here in this binding, he also decided to use some aluminum plates, and well, it looks quite spectacular, especially when you see it in location. So here's description: goatskin binding, painted kangaroo skin, sanded and tinted aluminum onlays, cork doublures, and yeah, the concept.
So kangaroo skin. I
Kangaroo.
wonder which ones. Probably the ones on the right.
Uh,
The really weird surfaces. That's probably it.
the really weird surfaces is aluminum onlays.
So it's
And kangaroo skin obviously is on the spine, because it's on onlays,
uh-huh.
painted kangaroo skin. I'm not sure why kangaroo and sort of Australian shapes appear on during Transsiberian journey. Nowadays, probably you can find kangaroos over there, and then Strosses and Amos and I don't know what, but it's definitely not 100 years ago. The concept and design of the binding are taken directly from the format of the text. That is, the color and the form of the shapes applied across the spine are inspired by Deloni's painting, both in this book and her other work as fine artist. Here we have, an answer to our incredulity. Yeah, you can. I'm not sure if you can see that that's aluminum, but it's roughed just a bit, and well, it's still reflective, and it's not as metallic because it doesn't look as metallic as virgin aluminum looks like because it was tinted, but well, and here is how it looks from the inside. Susan Hulme, I'm not sure about the surname, I'm sorry, from the United States. And I really love this shades of green binding and threefold cover. So a hinged triptych bound in French buffalo with inlays of goatskin and various shades of green, doublure also in buffalo. Clamshell, I think it's separate. Okay, clamshell French buffalo, goatskin, and ultra sweat. Hand-wheeled enclosure designed by Susan Hulme, constructed by Brit Static.
You think such an unusual format of the book would be a hindrance to the binders, but the book being so small, it actually gave them freedom to do what they want. The variety is impressive.
I only noticed that there is Eiffel Tower on the cover, but it's upside down. So now I'm curious:
If the whole book is upside
is it
down.
supposed to be upside down, or is the book placed upside down on this thing? The Eiffel Tower in geometric abstraction is a symbol of optimism and duty, as I imagine the train moving
Is
forward.
it imaged the same way up in the book?
Yeah, this is a great question. I don't see anything about the upside down Eiffel Tower in the description, and yeah, I guess it's upside down. You can see
Yeah.
sign right here. Well, okay, this happens. And Kitty, two bindings by Kitty Maryatt, the person who started this project and organized this exhibition, and who's in charge of all of it. And one of them is has metallic covers, and it's also quite stunning, and also one of my favorites in this set. And the other one is the one much smaller in the left. So wow, am I mistaken or not?
Is this metal again? The one
I
on the
think
right?
in the description in the metal isn't mentioned, so I just wanted to check. Um, it's a Reeve heavyweight 175 grams per centimeter per square meter paper gouache coat vellum plexiglass. So it cannot.
This is probably one of the most spectacular ones in the exhibition.
Let me check the description in the catalog. Maybe there is some more info. Because it definitely looks metallic, but there is no mention of metal in the description. Oh no, okay. Aluminum, brass wire, brass rod, aluminum sleeves.
Yeah, you can see where the wire is. It's where they are joined in the middle.
Okay, I think there is there is a bit of mistake in the description, because there are two cards, as you can see, but for both cards the dimensions and the information of the about the bindings is the same. So I guess there was a mistake in the description. And let me read it from the catalog. It's aluminum, brass wire, brass rod, aluminum sleeves, magnets, Winter America book cloth, goatskin leather, and acrylics. And yeah, and the aluminum surface was definitely worked on with sanding machine, and this gave it this beautiful pattern, and all the additional, dimensions. And then once again you have some French objects over there from French shapes, but something else as well. And the second book is a smaller one, and the description I read before is related to this binding. And plexiglass is because of the plexiglass book box. You can see it's placed so it's not for the display, it's a part of the project. And here's from the back. So it's really a box that holds the concertina book. And Sabina Nies, also from United States. Unfortunately, that's one of the bindings that I wasn't able to make good photos of, just because of how it was placed. But there are these recessed onlays depicting some of the views you can see from the train windows. And
With Muslim motifs. That's probably from Kazan.
yeah, Kazan. I don't think Transsiberian goes to Kazan. It can it definitely it should go through Ufa. Once again, it's much souther. But well, there are definitely some Muslim predominant regions on the way. So not only in Bashkiria. And some Eiffel Tower once again, and some other patrons over there. And Avalon, mylar, fabric, goat leather, acrylics, Japanese paper, photography, and the found object. Which is the found object? This is interesting. Yeah, we can guess. For optional hanging of the whole print, the pages are kept inside the book structured with magnets. Here is
Lots of magnets in the exhibition.
yeah. And we're almost at the end of the exhibition. And oh, here's sure. Here is that book with the LEDs that we talked about earlier, and that I thought I forgot to include, but it was included. So over here there is a path with cities mentioned, and LEDs will light up if you switch the cable, attach the cable to the book. But the next book is on the right, and I guess our viewers cannot see it because of our heads once again. So there it is, and once again it's one of my favorites. No. Oh yeah. No, I mixed up the order. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's once again the binding by Servan-Briand from the United States, and that's just the other side. And you can probably see the I'm blanking on the word. Wooden, not. Yeah. Sorry. That's.
It's like plywood.
Yeah, like onlays. Wood veneer. Yeah, wood veneer. So it's a thin layer of wood that it's pasted over some other surfaces, and then or before worked and tooled in some way. But now it's Aaron Fletcher, yeah, and that's the one I liked quite a lot as well. And here you can see some objects reminding us of the of our Soviet past. And yeah, the patterns are beautiful as well. Buffalo and
And he
goatskin.
also uses bindery, right? He also uses thread. How are all these patterns made?
So cotton and metallic embroidery floss, and do I have a close-up? So here you can see some stitching, and on the sides as well, but the top I think it's on lace. Moon gold, palladium, handmade abaca paper, and colored pencil. A star map began to build around this. The design flourished from one particular line in Sandrar's poem, Le Comet Tomban, the comet's fall. A star map began to build around this phrase, pulling in other elements from the text. The border, inspired by the domes of St. Basil Cathedral in Moscow, is square. At the center of a comet is racing across the Transsiberian Railway with a face that resembles the original train engine. Constellations fill the map with imagery plucked from the protagonist's observations: train towers of Moscow, his female companion, the slender silver lily, and the legend of Novgorod. Inside the binding is a colorful depiction of Kitty Marryatt's original sketches of the LNA's Pushoa. At the start of her research to recreate this landmark work. So yeah, I'm not sure about the orange parts, but it seems to me they are onlaid. And here you can see doubleurs and the book from the inside.
And I highly recommend his website. I posted a link to it. He has close-ups of this work and many other works that are. Some of them are similar, some of them are nothing like it. He has a very unique style.
And the last objects we'd like to show you today, it's a binding by Priscilla Spittler from the United States. Once again, pretty joyful binding.
It seems the bindings fall into categories. They are either inspired by by the railway Siberia, and those are mostly grey, or they are inspired by Delon's art, and those are mostly joyful.
Yeah.
So there's a conflict of. Russia doesn't have the best press, I'd say.
Well, even you don't help it, when you say that, well, we have 9 months of winter, everything is great during this period of time.
Yeah, because say people from London never complain about the weather, right?
But they have some other good publicity, so maybe don't help the naysayers. So here is from the description: goatskin arch text wolf, foil bugra. What's bugra?
I don't know. Half the words you say are new to me, so I should read on all these.
So this was an amazing experience, and I hope you liked it as well.
I'm so envious of you. I also got the invitation, but a bit too far from me.
We don't have any news today, and even if we got any news, we would definitely skip them because it's much over our standard 90-minute routine, and well, that there was the reason for that. So, to everyone who stayed with us until the end, we say a lot of thanks, and please check the link to our Patreon account. We really need your support, and we trying to return to our standard publishing routine with the podcasts. We had to change our the editor for our videos, and the new editor starts working later this week. So hopefully and probably we'll return to our routine of posting 2 or even 3 podcast episodes, 2 smaller ones and 1 larger one every week. That's that's the routine, that's the schedule we had before this summer, and well, we have a lot of plans, and money coming from Patreon help us to cover the expenses on editing of the videos and some other things as well. For example, like this um, new how do you say new backgrounds and all that stuff for our podcast and for our live stream. I hope you like them, and well, thanks again. Join us next time in 2 weeks. Subscribe to our YouTube or and Facebook channels and pages, not to miss our new posts, photos. Check our Instagram accounts. We will post all the photos from or most of the photos from these exhibitions on our Instagram account in the upcoming weeks. And thank you, Pavel, for your additional insights into the history of art, as usual. And see you next time.
Bye.
And we'll stay for a bit more just to be sure that everything switched off nicely, not like we started.
How it can switch off not nicely, like it switches off screaming. I mean, what
Uh,
could possibly go wrong on that
yeah,
end?
in the middle of me saying some important stuff about, Patreon account and supporting us. So let me check. Stop.